In the future, isn't it possible that Moonwatch can mean something completely different? Like made from parts of the moon, or made on the moon, or inspired by the moon? Like they could pivot this. Like 100 years from now, it could have nothing to do with going to the moon.
Or mooning. Is that
mooning? Yes, that's the one they want to do.
Richard at Studio Underdog, take note. I would love to see that one.
Anyway, let's give some clappage to the show this week. We have a couple of options that we've discovered through the week. Our first up, an easy one, would have been this from the global sellout that is now Nico, who is now shilling for CIGA Design, which I think particularly upset David. He's an angry man, if ever there was one. The countries that are ruining Swiss watchmaking, whatever that is. So he is now fronting CIGA Design, their lovely 1900 Black Star watches. Oh, and there's a picture of Donald Trump for some reason. But there we go. So this could have won it. David, why should this have won the clappage for this week? The ironic clapping. You're muted, so
why is his only prop a computer?
It's like that looks like he stole it from IKEA, probably. You know?
Is it a real computer? Yes.
That's hilarious. So, my response was not a real manufacturer, because he's like, he was just grabbing an Hublot, just because it's not a real manufacturer in his opinion. And then he goes, all out on CIGA Design.
Well,
so that's just.
I mean, the irony is not lost that he takes such umbrage with Hublot, and then he decides to pair up with a brand that has made Hublot homages. I think it's a very interesting sort of.
Maybe that's his way of getting at Hublot. That's like, I hate Hublot so much, I went to a brand that copies them. That will teach him.
I'm just saying, if he has an issue of the way that Hublot makes his watches, wait till he goes to China.
The rivers glow blue at night. What?
Looms so good.
Yeah, I was listening to an interesting podcast that was talking about the inevitability of YouTube influencers actually ending up just being marketers for brands that historically they would not have engaged with. That eventually you reach out, look at that, a little bit of string, look at them putting it together. There's an inevitability that when a YouTuber kind of tops out and their channel is slow growing, that actually the only way to increase the revenue, much like a company that needs to continually increase its value to its shareholders, the only way to grow its market is to actually start selling the watches directly rather than commenting upon them and getting the adverts from. I think we'll just freeze it at that picture. There we go. That's
how many takes did that take?
Yeah.
Hopefully just one. Not to traumatize the cameraman too much.
You know what I love about this packaging that the watch comes in? That you have to take it back off the strap to put it back in the box. Because that's how I put my watches back in the carrying case. I just take the strap off, right?
Nico is turning into James Corden, according to Borisic, which is a fun
it's not
point.
The same person?
Anyway, so that could have been this week's clappage, which was from Nico. However, I think we're going to give it to...
Oh, gosh.
I think we're going to give it to Casio for... I don't quite understand the relevance of this to Casio, but welcome to the Casio Moflin, a name which I'm sure hasn't done whatever it is that they call the checking out when they check that Moflin's bound to mean something rude somewhere.
This is PG-13 at least.
It just feels like one of those words. The Moflin is a smart companion powered by AI with emotions like a living creature.
This is the worst.
Oddly, we're talking about this on the very same day that, what is that website? Shine, Stop Selling Sex Dolls. So, Japanese AI to the rescue.
Casio was like, oh, it's all fun now.
They're furry. They're fun. They feel great.
I think
this is so bad. Yeah. I genuinely am getting goosebumps. It's so bad. It's like
do you guys remember Furbies?
So
those
gross.
things that were like the precursor to this, and this is like an AI powered Furby. Now, I remember the Furbies, and they were remarkably invasive because it was this little robot thing demanding food and stuff at times that weren't appropriate. And I remember shoving one under a bed to make it shut up because if you shut it off from light, it would go into hibernation mode. Now, if you've bundled that with AI, I can't imagine that is going to be less invasive.
This is literally a space guinea pig.
The only reason this doesn't have hands is that so that it cannot hold a gun. That's the only reason why it doesn't have arms. The little Moflin.
What type of drug do you need to be on to say, I want to have an afternoon out taking pictures with my Moflin?
well,
striking it gently.
Where you can do that, or if the local authorities might have something to say about where you can take pictures of your Moflin.
Yeah, I like how on the website they stress that it's highly unjudgmental. Like that's like, oh, finally.
Thank you. You know, that's like
technology.
The moment you have to say something like that. You know, like I'm highly not a homicidal maniac. You know, the moment you have to say that, it's like, well, it raises questions. You know, nobody thought of that. But now that you mention it,
don't work. It has no buttons.
Judgmental was not even remotely close to the first thing I would have been concerned about until they had mentioned it.
The Moflin is doing two things. One is collecting data about its users, and two is devising a plan to destroy them all. That's
so it's
two
very
functions of the Moflin.
judgmental. I think that's the false advertising. Humans seeing other humans with a Moflin will judge them, guarantee. And the device by nature is absorbing your data and it is judging you. So it's highly judgmental.
Can someone send that kind woman in the advert video like a gerbil or a guinea pig or something to just, you know,
or to therapy?
I want to see a video of a guinea pig meeting a Moflin and seeing what happens.
Robot can.
So it's safe and not judgmental. Don't stress it's safe. What is it like? Is a child going to swallow it? What can it do?
I want to know where you plug
whisper homicidal thoughts to you.
I want to know where you plug in.
Again. This is giving me shivers.
Oh, we've got testimonials.
Oh, from Stella.
I would rate my Moflin as 5 stars. I had a great experience with it, and using it was confusing in the beginning, but afterhand, it made a lot of. Okay, now
this is so Orwellian.
After it interfaces my brain, I love it.
Hold on.
Then Moflin doublespeak taught me how to appreciate it.
If there's testimonials, that means there's an ability to put them somewhere. How do I add a testimonial to the Moflin page?
You can't. These are all AI generated.
What you should do is source like maybe like one of these like dusting things, you know, that look like a Moflin, and just place it in places where it looks like, you know, from certain angles, anything could be a Moflin. That's
so elf on a shelf, but with a Moflin.
If you want a restaurant shut down, you just leave this on the table in gray.
Well,
and then
there's no mention of the battery life. This is the number one thing I'm curious
I want to know
about.
where
Not
you plug
a single mention of it.
Yeah, where's the charging port?
There's a USB.
Hold on. It makes a noise. Okay.
Oh, God.
Okay. That's good. That's good. No. This is just getting worse.
You need a plant. That's what you want.
Anyway, I know this is so adjacent to wristwatches. It's made by Casio, that's the reason. But congratulations, Casio, on diversification. Diversification is important.
What do I do with this now?
If this thing looked like a little small Gundam or Japanese robot, we'd be all over it. I think our problem is just it's not designed for us, right? But if there was like a tiny little robot that was like a little Astro Boy, okay, or a little G-Shock guy. Yes, the G-Shock man. Yeah, I remember that.
The G-Shock creature.
G-Shock
they
man,
have
So we need someone to hack this, is what we're saying.
No, we need new hardware. We don't want to hack
if-
it. We just don't want it to look that way.
What if
Okay, someone's gonna skin it. We buy one, we skin it, and then we put it into a clock or something. I don't know, whatever it is.
I think if you skin
Turn
it, what
it
you're
into
going to
Pickle Rick.
find is that remember Casio to create that weird, like biomorphic looking one. They anthropomorphized the ball they used to throw out the windows. What if under the fur is just that ball creature thing they created? And
It's just the G-Shock under there.
yeah,
This is the anthropomorphization. No, that's not right. Anthropomorphization. I've added got too many words in there. Of a G-Shock is the Moflin. I want to see somebody throw it out a window and see how well it survives. Anyway, the honourable mention to Nico, but congratulations, Casio.
Nico.
Genius
I
lord.
mean,
Nico must try harder.
You faded into, You have to
so
team
will
up with.
Nico be selling the Moflin?
It's
I want to
inevitable.
see his
Now we're
video,
talking.
like pretending to eat it or whatever he was doing with the watch.
Look at the Moflin.
Oh, dear me. Anyway, so the show has started somewhere along the line. So good luck to Hayden as usual for editing.
No, this has to start immediate rest with the Moflins. I mean, we have to start high. It's all downhill from here.
By
the way,
mostly
Rick,
always.
your discussion on Scottish food upset a half Scottish man. Jay Leno was not particularly happy to hear such a long discussion on haggis. He listens, and that was his feedback.
But Jay Leno fed back to you.
Yes.
About discussion.
So could you talk about more appetizing Scottish food? I think that's really the point.
Can we please have Jay Leno on in that case? How do we get Jay Leno on the show?
I don't know if he's going to come on at midnight.
Well, Jay Leno, he's
used to the hours.
He's used to the hours.
Like 4 hours, yeah.
Yeah, he's just bad. But he used to present a late night show, did he not?
That's a really good point, by the way.
It would be in brand for him to show up. Okay,
Jay, come on, man. Come on.
He hasn't said no or anything. He just doesn't want to talk about haggis.
Well,
just doesn't want to talk to you, Rick.
Okay, I'll step aside and Jay Leno can host the show and I'll go off and do my podcast about Hamilton the musical. That's fine. Everybody's a winner. Everyone's a winner. Sorted.
No, we missed you, Rick.
Briefly. Right. Ariel. According to Ariel, how watch shows and events offer both opportunities and challenges. Give us a short intro to this and then let's have a chat about what shows. Go for it.
So the most popular thing in the watch industry over the last several years, really since the end of the pandemic, has been the revitalization of shows. Not just a return of shows, but a real revitalization of what a watch show is, evolving from just a business-to-business trade show to a consumer-facing event where products are sold. There's a large variety of them right now, and they're very important to the modern watch industry for a lot of reasons, especially when it comes to finding new customers and selling watches. But there are inherent issues with them, sustainability problems, and I don't mean environmental, I just mean like actual economic and human interest sustainability issues. So I try to discuss why these events are so popular, where the real value is, what's enduring about them, but some of the problems, some of the things around the seams where there's definite fragile points that are occurring. And I try to build it into some of the larger struggles as well as the opportunities of the current watch industry. And I write articles like this because this is sort of something happening in the watch culture ether, but no one is really summing it up. So that's what I try to do, is come at it from sort of an academic perspective so that everyone understands why they're doing it and also ask some bigger questions about their strategy and how long they can do it for and how they can make it a real long-term part of their plan.
How do you think the watch event has fundamentally changed from what you experienced pre-COVID to what you see now, apart from just the sheer quantity of them? And is there a point at which the trend starts to reverse?
Well, one of the interesting things about it is the very immediate, almost visceral feedback that brands get about how their products are doing. Of course, it depends on the brand and the type of show, but it used to be that at a trade show like Basel World or SIHH, and now Watches and Wonders, retailers would see the products, but it wasn't ultimately retailers that were the end consumers. Retailers would buy them and then sell them to end consumers. And brands didn't really know what the end consumers felt about it. They only knew what retailers felt, which is a little bit different. And retailers have historically always been far more conservative than end clients. You look at watch colors. For a long time, watch colors are very, very boring. And then all of a sudden, brands started selling direct to consumers, and watch colors went crazy. That's because retailers never buy brown dials and orange dials and bright red dials. They wanted black and silver and white and blue, and like really that's it. So that's one of the major things which I think is interesting is brands get immediate feedback from consumers about everything, about how their brands are perceived. Not all these brands know what to do with it, but I think that has been a positive thing. Also, brands have found that when they are when they interact with someone, it's easier to do a sale than online. So a lot of direct-to-consumer brands almost exclusively have these as opportunities to interact with clients. They do sell watches as a trickle online. But what I've learned from talking to many brands is these events that they go to, especially the smaller ones, they represent many of their sales annually.
One of the things that strikes me, especially in the UK, there's maybe 8 to 10 regular annual watch shows now. Now, okay, when I say they're annual, they'll be going for 2 years. Maybe they won't make it to the third year. It's the same brands you keep seeing. I'm assuming those brands are now starting to see the same people just continually turning up because fundamentally, because we don't all have Moflins in our life, we're all lonely, need social interaction, and so get that from the free watch events that we attend. Are brands... Is there a diminishing return because they just keep seeing the same people? There's only so many watches that Christopher Ward can sell to the same person. Or am I wrong? And actually, you know what? These watch geeks will just keep going and keep buying. And it's just a nice virtuous circle for these kind of lower level watch brands that aren't going to Watches and Wonders or the really big events. Or are these watch brands starting to report, you know what, we're doing 10 of these a year now, and we just keep on seeing the same people. It's now no longer worth it, and they're pulling back.
It's a good question, Rick, and the answer is sort of all of the above. So this is the strategy that brands are taking. One way that brands are trying to find new audiences is simply going to new shows in new cities. That's one of the reasons that they keep traveling to all these places. Like, oh, I haven't really met these people or met that people. It is true that they see some of the same folks and stuff like that, but they also want to sell multiple watches to the same people. So part of their strategy is repeat business. So that actually suits them quite well. The thing that's interesting to me, which I identified 4 or 5 years ago already, and is starting to be, I guess you call it a real issue now, is how at some point when these shows get so crowded, meaning there's too many brands, then that's where there really is the diminishing return. Is too many people or too many brands were there, and yes, maybe a lot of people came, but for whatever reason, they can't get through it all. And Windup was a good example of that. I completely understand why Windup wants to have more exhibitors. In a lot of ways, it makes it more interesting, more dynamic, more fun. But I think they had over 150 exhibitors there. And it was an exciting space to be in. But if you were any one of these given vendors, you would feel a real sense that a lot of the people who went to the show just didn't see you. And when you pay to be there, you know, they all pay to be there, not an exorbitant amount. It's no Watches and Wonders, but when they pay to be there, the expectation is people are going to come by my booth. Now, what ends up happening is even though they've done nothing different, the event itself has suddenly become more competitive. And we see the same situation where blogs have become more competitive for space. So now they got to like pay for advertising and such like that. Social media has become more competitive. So you have to pay for engagement, pay for visibility and things like that. You go to the shows. And so we have certain shows like Intersect, which is, you know, by definition, much smaller. I think it was maybe 20 vendors, something like maybe up to 25, nowhere near 150. But the tendency for each of the shows is to grow, and that creates an incentive for those brands to actually seek greener pastures elsewhere. So it's true that they're never really super happy, but it's also nature of the beast that you're going to a trade show. There's only so many people. It's not like, internet marketing where you could reach tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands in a couple of days. So I think some of it also has to do with their expectations. And that's why I wrote an article like this. Is a lot of these brands are like, I'll just go to the show and I'll have my booth and I'll be super charismatic and I'll have fun stickers and all the money will come to me. No, it's not that simple.
I wonder if my thinking is quite British in this regard. And if you relate it to music, back in the day when folk didn't just download whatever track on iTunes or whatever, and you would tour as a band. In the UK, the audience would travel to the band, whereas in America, you could spend a year touring, 5,000-seater halls, etc., and nobody would know you in America, despite the fact you'd filled hundreds of them for weeks and weeks on end, and the whole kind of breaking America thing. So I wonder if actually for these smaller brands, there's just such a huge market that, as you say, we are maybe still in the foothills of creating more and more watch events rather than at the kind of tipping point of them coming back down the mountain again. I wonder whether having these watch events with so many brands at them eventually leads to them kind of self-selecting and self-ranking themselves. That, you know what, I don't want to be at a watch show with my brand if this other brand is there. So instead, I'll go to this, as you say, much smaller watch show where I surround myself with brands that I think I am equivalent to, rather than, I go to this watch show and there's all of these Chinese watches or all of these French watches or British watches, whatever it happens to be, or types of watches or price point of watches. David, Ripley, experiences, thoughts on this subject? How do you see the world of the watch show developing?
It's hard because it's, intersects nice because there's lots of people, there's a solid number of brands, it's busy, but when a brand is making contact with a potential customer or someone who wants to discover about it, they can actually have a decent conversation, and they might have to stop in that conversation to greet someone else who comes up to the table. But it's not like when the type of event where you've got 150 plus exhibitors where, if you see Mike Pearson over just kind of manning the fort during like a Windup event, he is so busy basically just trying to get the general gist out and greet the people that are coming up to it. And that's a huge brand. It's not like that at every single booth there, obviously. But then when you've got smaller brands who are looking at that packed table and being like, well, what's the point of me being here? This is just sort of a mess and I'm one of many. There is kind of that sweet spot of where Ariel mentioned, where you actually get to connect with the individuals. And that's a big part of the reason why people like the smaller scale brands. And then once it gets above a certain size, you need to entertain all the people and brands and stuff that are there to kind of keep it an event so people can make their rounds. So there is sort of a sweet spot in sizing. And I think that the events themselves are still trying to get their footing with it. But it's the same thing at Watches and Wonders, even at the big one. The first day of the show, at the very first thing, when the Rolex curtains go up, that's where everyone is. And then once the curtains go up and people get their first couple things for social media, everyone runs off to their appointments and the day goes on. But that's a good example of there is no level of brand that this is necessarily not a factor. You can be Patek waiting at 9 a.m. and then everyone walks over thereafter after they saw the Rolex release. So I think that's just fundamentally going to be a system as long as there's big brands and small brands and some brands that are super popular or culty or whatever. But with the more and more wind-up ones, even as someone who's there to just kind of loosely cover the event and see brands, I have such a hard time making it through all the brands and saying hello to people and, of course, all the other industry people you run into. And I'm not even trying to sell watches.
David, observations?
Just don't say hello to anyone. That's
the European way. Just go in there with your Moflin and just be with your Moflin.
Just talk to it. I mean, there's the art of just the nod of acknowledgement. You know, when somebody's storming towards you and you're storming the other direction, and you're just like, hey, yes, I'll see you on day 6 in the press lounge, something.
And it's only a 5-day show. Yeah. But you don't realise that.
Hopefully.
See you in the 6th day.
Bye.
Good stuff. Are there any brands that are becoming the equivalent of Rolex, the anchor tenant of these kind of next level down shows?
For sure, Chris Ward. It's and it started with the Bel Canto. Like they've always been a really popular brand. It's always been really good value for the money. But when it was just like a really nice Swiss diver for a fair price, there wasn't anything someone could see there that they couldn't see somewhere else. But when you get the Bel Canto, it's nothing groundbreaking. But within that sector and at that price point, it made a lot of waves. Same's true for the Loco. And when I was there at the one in San Francisco, the number of people just going up the table to check out a Loco was nuts.
I've identified something interesting as well, and that is many of the consumers that go to these are very new and very fresh. There's nothing wrong with that, but the amount of information they know, what they know about watch culture is limited to really sort of what they see on social media. I mean, I think the perfect example is, as you say, Christopher Ward. Christopher Ward has engendered a personality for itself, which is totally false. They've said, oh, we're a cool little micro brand. Christopher Ward is not now, nor has it ever been, a micro brand.
No.
Yet they continue to assert this personality. That's one of the reasons they don't engage with me very much, because I refuse to toe their fallacious line. I like some of the stuff they do. I think they probably have a little bit too much popularity right now. Most of it is just because of Mike Pearson. But they've painted this picture of themselves as like, you know, the hippest of the micro brands, when they're not at all. They're wearing like the clothing maybe of a micro brand. They're using that terminology, and that's effective because a lot of these audience are really, really that new, and eventually we'll figure some of this stuff out. And I also want to comment that we've seen a lot of this play with the traditional luxury brands, where they're like, I've outgrown this retailer. I don't like the brands I'm around, right? Or I don't even want to be on this street anymore. Madison Avenue, screw that. I'm going to Fifth Avenue. So you see the big brands for many years playing, I guess you call it the positioning game. And it really is a matter of that. It's who am I around? Who's going to see me? You know, stuff like that. It's got nothing to do with their products. Not really that much to do with their marketing, but again, it's about positioning, and it's been happening for a very long time, and it's completely predictable to see it happening within this, you know, startup brand space.
Okie dokie, let's move on. I have just Googled Mr. Jay Leno, and here's some facts I didn't know, which means I'm okay with him criticising our critique of Scottish food, because his middle name is James Douglas Muir Leno, which, other than the Leno bit, is just about the most Scottish name you could have.
His dad was Italian, so that's where Leno comes from.
Yes, but his mother was from Greenock, which is just not very far from where I'm sitting right now. And is famous. It's famously the home of some confectionery. There's some famous sweetie shops that come from Greenock, as well as the football club Greenock Morton. But there we go. So yeah, a very Scottish selection of Douglas Muir. That's just like, I actually know people that's their name, Douglas Muir. So there you go. And he's got that as middle name.
Is that a paint?
Douglas Muir.
Paint. Well, if that's a paint company.
No. Well, maybe. Not aware of one, but there we go. So anyway, yes, it's good to have a fellow Scot listening in. Right, you have a choice, gentlemen. We can either go to What You Like, which this week from last week is horror movies, or we can do our famous, well, I say famous, we've only done it 3 times, show within a show, a brand, a rant, and a Watches 101. Where would you like to go to next? Spin the bottle and tell us where we're going. Who's choosing?
I'm not really into horror movies, so you will lose me on that one.
Not really into horror.
Let's start with the show within a show.
Show within a show. But David promised us an unboxing this week. Is he following through with his unboxing? No,
I totally forgot. The mystery bag remains firmly on my shelf.
Is it still there? Is it still unopened?
Yes. Oh yeah,
excellent.
absolutely.
So next week we will have the unboxing from David. I can see this becoming a running thing. It never actually gets unboxed.
The unbagging. Yeah, it will be a recurring
reboxing.
It's because there's one of those Moflins in it. Casio have sent him a gift.
How did you know?
That's what's in it. Right, show within a show. Let's make a start. So let's choose, because he'd already told me he had one, a rant from Ripley Sellers, our show within a show. Give us a rant, Ripley.
It's a rant that leaves into the Watch 101 thing. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those who read the site, Haim released the Annuum. Well done to them. When the press materials went out for it, it was described as being an annual calendar, and the pre-order price for it, or the introductory price, not pre-order. The introductory price was like $1,700, and they have got a custom module on like an SW300 sort of platform. And all that's well and good. Unfortunately, it is not an annual calendar. It's a complete calendar, which is a bit less impressive, quite a bit less impressive. Still a cool watch, no doubt, but man, if this is the party piece of it and the name Annuum would allude to annual, yeah, that's a tough one to go out when, like, this isn't like, oh, sorry, we changed the material of the hands for, production reasons. It's like, I feel like that was the entire theme of it. It's not even that fun of a rant, because I'm not even upset. I'm just disappointed. This could have been epic if it was like a triple calendar moon phase annual calendar at like under $2,000. That would be really, really cool for the micro brand scene. Lovely watch. There's a lot of cool things they do with the rotor. It's like they make it look like a peripheral rotor. It's not. It's centrally mounted, but there's a transparent disc in there linking the outer weight. Still cool, but man, I'm just, that's the disappointment of the day for sure. I just waking up and seeing, oh, correction, sorry, we called it an annual calendar. It's not.
Okay, so we'll do it. So first of all, on the watch itself, so they get bonus points.
I guess now it's turning into a rant, Rick. Okay, so here's the thing. If it was an annual calendar, that'd be pretty special. But a triple calendar, I think the Miyota 9 series movements in the 9100 configuration is a triple calendar with a power reserve. So we're not even that far away from just the off-the-shelf one from a functionality point. If it was an annual calendar and I didn't need to touch it until March 1st, I would have been really, really on board and interested. But at this point, it feels like even doing the custom module seems a bit unnecessary, because you're really just getting a moon phase over an off-the-shelf 9100.
It gets bonus points for me because at least it is using the same type of...
Oh, I know you'd like that. Yes,
I like that. So it's using it's a calendar, and it's using all pointers rather than 2 pointers in one window. At least displays the date as a pointer as well. I actually prefer it if it was Windows, but there we go. So that's the moan or the rant.
Why are these so expensive? They look like a mall watch. What makes them like $1,700? I really don't get it. This looks precisely like the sort of thing that's discounted from $9.99 to $163.73 with free shipping from Shenzhen.
And so that's what disappoints me.
It doesn't look expensive.
If I told you this was an annual calendar because it's got a custom module, would you not feel a little bit different?
Yeah, but no watch that looks like this has an annual calendar. I mean, this really is giving me that, and I'm not trying to bash this, but this is giving me really strong mall watch vibes. I'm sorry.
So let me. I gotta chime in here. David is definitely accurate what he's saying, but I saw this watch in person, and I have to say, these watches look better in person. So I think that's a big part of it. I again don't disagree with what anyone's saying here. They tried to do their own take. Hey, we have our own calendar. But David's right that there's this whole generation of watches that I like to playfully call the phonograph, like FAUX, it looks like it's a chronograph, but it's like some cheap, boring complication, like a day-night indicator, like no one cares about. And the Japanese especially, and Chinese for that matter, have had years and years of these where they make like a big to-do, like let's use all this dial space, make it look like, oh, it's a chronograph. No, it's just a boring calendar date thing. And that it kind of has that vibe. So David's definitely correct that if you have that experience, but I think a lot of the new novices out there, they've never seen those watches. They don't know them. And then again, when you see this in person, it definitely, it's definitely different than those watches. But you're right. At a glance, if I was just looking at this online, I'd be like, dismiss.
Yeah, the photos aren't great. I saw a prototype early on at the Minutes and Hours and show when it was in LA, and the transparent dial one kind of reminds me a little bit of like the overseas Perpetual. Obviously very different when you get to the case and everything, but no, they what I saw looked quite promising. And when I heard annual calendar, I was really excited. But man, that's just one of those ones where it was like, hey, do you want to come to my birthday party? John Mayer's playing, and you're like, oh yeah, for sure. And then you show up and he's not playing. It's like, oh, sorry. No, my friend John, who's the mayor of one of the towns, is playing. And you're like, all right. Cool. Happy birthday, brother.
It's not a birthday party. It's a complete party.
It's not. Yeah, it's not that. It's the annuum, not the completum.
I mean, if you look at the dial, the case looks nice on some of the pictures. It's true, but the dial is just really, really, really quite poor. The textures, the fake guilloche on the center, the quality of the print, the hands. Nothing on this looks like $1,700, let alone $2,100. It's nothing.
Again, they're better in person, but I agree. This is the risk of bad. They're not bad pictures. They're just not representative.
No, it's just not an expensive dial.
I mean, how many textures are on the face of this watch? So we've got
enough.
1, 2, 3, 4. Does the bit in the middle count as a fifth, or is it a continuation of that?
It's the beginning of that.
Textures and fonts again.
It's just not a good dial.
And there appears to be a bit of fingernail left just within the moon phase. I'm not sure what that is.
If you go through the photos and really look close, you'll see like little pieces of lint or like a little speck of dust on the crystal that didn't get removed in Lightroom. So these are probably very earnest photos. If you like, it will look better in person. Guaranteed.
That's a good picture of the case.
Yeah.
On that picture, the case looks expensive. The dial, this looks like a decent case, but the dial is just.
Yeah,
and it does look thick, but it's only like 12 mil. It's just not a very large watch, so it looks a bit slab-sided. But if you actually
pictures suck, I'm sorry. I don't know who took these pictures.
But if you break down the dimensions, it's gonna
Tell me this isn't our pictures, right? This isn't like one of us, right?
No.
Okay. I thought it was Ripley's article. I was worried for Ripley's photography there. Okay, so that is our rant this week on the Haim Annum, which should have been a completum rather than an annum. They're going to have to change the name of the watch. Brings a complete calendar to the microbrand scene. Okay, Ripley, now give us our 101 this week, which is what actually is the difference between... So you've used the word annual calendar, complete calendar, and triple calendar.
And let's do perpetual calendar.
So perpetual calendar.
Let's start with
what I'm afraid to ask. I don't really know. I've just carried on all these years that I know the difference, so now educate me.
So let's start from the full Monty and go to the thing that you can get in the mall watch David described. At the top of this, before we get into the really esoteric stuff where there's multiple different calendars that can do Hebrew and the secular and all of that, for most watches, even the Grail status ones, you're going to get perpetual calendar. That it tracks everything, compensates for the different number of days in each month and leap years. So until like 2100, or depending on which brand and what mechanism they're using, for probably the rest of your life. And when you have to send it in for service, you're not going to need to reset the watch, provided that you keep it running, at least the calendar complications.
Okay. So if I keep it wound up, the date will keep correct.
Yes, in theory, until it needs service. Now, moving one step down, you get the annual calendar. Unlike the perpetual calendar, it doesn't do leap years. So it does the different months, 30, 31 days, whatever, but you will need to reset it at the end of February because it can't do that one piece of math. But still pretty useful. Except for that one day a year, you're getting pretty much most of the functionality and just a bit less of the bragging rights. Annual calendars, somewhat rare.
Before we go to that, yes, so annual calendar, as I understand it, perpetual calendars existed before annual calendars, or there's some history behind this. That one was actually, it was more desirable when you were an individual watchmaker to actually make a perpetual calendar. Nobody had actually ever thought of making a calendar complication that didn't deal with February 29th. That was kind of not really the point. Is that correct or a myth?
I wouldn't know the order of which they came out, but that would make sense. Someone realized, hey, this thing's like really hard to do, and every 4 years is kind of ridiculous when back in the day you had to service them every year. You know, it just didn't really necessarily make the most sense. And what if we just did this and cut out that whole other bit of it? But personally, I would choose an annual calendar over a perpetual calendar. It's just more simple. I can deal with one day a year of almost anything, let alone watch setting. So moving one step down from that, you get a complete calendar, which just is a regular calendar, but it has indicators for the days, day, month, and day, month, and date. So that's nice. You can have them with or without a moon phase, but this is for the person who can't remember it's Tuesday in March and it's the 31st. If you can remember the month, you can go to a date, and all you need to know is it is Tuesday the 21st or something like that. And if you can remember what day it is, you just get the date display, which is what you get on pretty much most watches. And if you can remember the date, you just end up at a time only. But where people begin to lose it is the difference between triple, annual, and perpetual. Perpetual does leap years. Annual needs to be reset once a year. And triple calendar, complete calendar, you're just getting multiple displays for a traditional calendar that doesn't do anything autonomously as far as different numbers of days.
I'm looking at an article on the 1916 company, which I'm struggling to believe, but it being the 1916 company, it will at least be reasonably well researched if Tim's been involved. So this is suggesting that this appears to be suggesting the first simplified perpetual calendar was first introduced as a wristwatch in 1996. Is that right? That perpetual
it's totally
calendars. So perpetual calendars go back to 17-ish with Thomas Mudge, and then Patek patented the first perpetual calendar in a wristwatch in 1889. And it took 70-odd years for someone to actually go, let's just forget about the leap year. Is that not the most back-to-front thing you've ever heard? It's really weird that you
Where is this 1990s Patek coming from? What's special about it?
This is saying that this is the first annual calendar. The annual calendar dilemma. This is on the 1916 company.
Not that style.
Annual calendars, as their name implies, need to be reset annually. However, they account for various lengths. And the first, maybe this was just Patek's first, the reference 5035. But the article is saying essentially it was first introduced as a wristwatch in 1996.
Yeah, that's an annual calendar. Probably nobody dared to ask for quite so much money for something that does less. But they figured a way out. He went to work, they tried really hard, and they were like, yeah, you can do it in February.
Yeah, cost-cutting exercise at Patek.
Yeah, how do you feel now, customer?
There's often the takedown models in other industries where they come out with the flagship one, they get people excited, then they realize they can't afford it, and then they come out with like the poor man's version after the fact. You see it all the time with like signature sneakers from like athletes and stuff. So like you get everyone hyped on the perpetual stuff after a while of it being the grail trinket for the wealthy guys. Hey, if you do okay without the leap year, we can charge you almost as much, but it'll be less expensive.
Yeah. I mean, it's ballsy from Patek to come out with a number perpetual calendar that's an annual, like a decade after Kurt Klaus figured out a nice crown setting only perpetual for So they actually managed to refine the way a perpetual calendar operates, thanks to Kurt Klaus. And then Patek was like, hold my beer. 8 years later, we figured out something that does less, and probably we charge more.
Pushers.
Great, good job. This is only possible in the world of watches, really. I don't think this would work in the world of technology or cars or anything like that.
Yeah, we all prefer annual calendars.
Yeah, I quite like annual calendars. Yeah. I have nothing against them. I just don't want to pay quite so much, for the privilege.
Good. Okay, so that is our Watches 101 for the week. Now you know everything about how to distinguish your types.
By the way, this is the exact rant I had when Zenith 3 came out with their crappy
David,
calendar.
just to emphasise the decline in Western Europe, David's now about to run out of electricity.
Yeah,
so
I have to go and wind up my clocks, feed the chicken, and just say hello to my medieval friends, and just go back to
enjoy.
Don't forget to throw the bathroom bucket out the window.
Gargaloo to you too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that is our Watches 101 on all things calendar. Now, our show within a show for a brand question. And my question is this: who cares about the moon the most, NASA or Omega?
Omega.
Discuss.
Omega. NASA can go anywhere. The moon's nice. That's a great thing. They can tout as, hey, we went back there, but realistically, NASA, it's the answers they seek are not on the moon. They're looking more at Mars, cosmic stuff you can only see from a telescope. Realistically, like the beginning of the universe type of things and particles and asteroid, all of that stuff. Omega has done the Mars timer, but the emphasis on anything other than the moon and space exploration has been very, very little. And meanwhile, NASA's funding does not come from people's interest in the moon necessarily. It comes from budgets and stuff like that. So when I think for Omega, the moon is more important. It isn't just the greatest accomplishment other than Daniel Craig. It's the big source of revenue and a generator for them. If we reconquered the moon, great for NASA, but then it's like, what's next? What's the next frontier? Mars and what other planets and where else can we send humans? Omega, if they're not part of those next journeys, the moon is still going to be the feather in the cap.
Well, I mean, do you think though that if we go to Mars and Omega don't go to Mars, then that's a big problem? Do Swatch Group need to throw money at the Mars trip? Otherwise, like, you were the watch that went to the moon. I mean, you can imagine what happens to the marketing campaign if Breitling is the one that goes to Mars. There's going to be all these billboards slagging off Omega. You went to the moon. Oh, look at you. Oh, look at you, little Omega. We went to Mars.
Only if they're allowed to build one of those Olympics countdown clocks on Mars.
Shine a laser at it.
What if we just started sponsoring, I think our space program should have more funding, but what if the brand sponsored it? So just like an F1 driver, you could just sell the different places on the spacesuit and it could just be like a big Omega logo on the helmet or something like that. And so NASA gets their funding, Omega's guaranteed to be part of it. And if we're being really honest, they did so much research back in the day around the Alaska project for like space watch stuff. They probably have a lot of the R&D there. It's just creating something that NASA wants to do their testing on again.
Are you familiar with the TV show Red Dwarf? Did that make it to the States?
That was a comedy, right?
Comedy, yeah.
Is it a Scottish thing?
No.
Not everything that you don't understand, Ripley, is just because it's Scottish.
Just some of them.
Just some of them. So in Red Dwarf, one of the characters famously had an H on his forehead. So I'm just seeing it now. The brand we need to support in going to Mars is obviously Hublot. Can you imagine the one-upmanship can you imagine how Hublot would respond to all the other brands, in particular Omega, if it was the brand that went to Mars? It would be some of the best advertising campaigns you've ever seen of watch brands taking on each other.
I mean, Omega, first of all, Hublot would make the watch out of Mars in the same way. They make it out And we recycled
What's this brand 101?
They've heard nothing about either of these brands.
So Omega. So
what do you learn about Omega? I don't know. It's about Mars.
And Hublot. As we know, everything eventually goes back to both Hublot and Panerai. We just haven't got to the Panerai section yet. Although I think I promised last week to mention neither of those brands, but never mind. So why is the moon shtick as important to selling the moon watch, the Speedmaster, as we think it is? Or actually, when people buy Speedmasters, they're not really thinking about it going to the moon. It's just a peripheral thing.
For the average person, it's the thing I hear the most. You know,
Really?
Yeah, it's like, oh, Omega, yeah, they had the watch that went to the moon. It's we often think of it like, oh, we keep hearing the message. I'm more interested in the fact that it's flight qualified and for EVA. There's plenty of digital watches that have been flight qualified, but they can't do the EVA stuff because the temperatures and the LCD screens. I'm more interested in that nerdy level of it. That is no normal sane person cares about that. But for the average, my neighbor was like, oh, I've always wanted a Omega Moonwatch because it was the one used by NASA. Like that's still just like Rolex with the dive watch and the James Bond. James Bond hasn't worn a Rolex in decades, but the James Bond Submariner, you know, like that still carries weight.
Yeah. Do you think Omega are still perpetually disappointed that people still think that Bond wears a Rolex? Unless you've actually owned the Omega.
I mean, haven't they made enough money off that relationship not to care?
So which do you think they would drop first? Do you think they would drop the Olympics type sporting event timing, Bond, or the moon as references? What's
oh my God, it's like you're asking them to like kill one of their children.
It'll be Bond. It'll be Bond. It would be Bond. You can't. The Olympics, that's global. It's also only every 4, or I guess technically 2 years. And look, they've already started making watches for 100 days to celebrate 100 days to the countdown of the 2026 Olympics. Yeah, like that's a big thing for them. With the James Bond stuff, yeah, they do a lot of that, but like they can really, other than tribute pieces and like, you know, really high-end merch type of thing, they can really only do a new Bond watch when there's a new Bond movie. And I mean, look at the number of Speedmasters. Clearly that the Speedmaster release schedule is not tied to the moon event. Yeah.
There may not be a new good Bond movie during our lifetime. I mean, what do they do? Take his gun away now? What is he like? James Bond, like Ward psychiatrist? You know, like it's. Well,
is there any other brand other than Omega that we can so quickly name the 3 biggest brand tie-ins? I mean, it's actually quite a successful partnership with those 3. The fact that I can sit here and go, oh yeah, Omega, the moon, Bond, and Olympic timer. I'm not sure I could do that with Breitling or even Rolex. Okay, Rolex, I could go Wimbledon, formerly Formula 1.
You could totally do that with Rolex.
Golf. That's sports rather than the actual Bond tie-in, I suppose. So Rolex, Omega, is there anyone else, brands where you're immediately thinking, yeah, they're the guys that do X? I'm not sure that there is.
3? So, I mean, some brands don't have the 3. It's like Piaget. Yeah. Oh, they're the ones who do the jewelry, you know, or like Cartier. Oh, my wife loves them. You know, it's like a lot don't have the 3. I'm trying to think of like who has like a couple or maybe 3 main pillars that are that succinct. Breitling likes planes, cars, and planes, American cars, and football, or I don't know.
Okay, well, I think there's only one way to test this finally in conclusion, is to go to both the websites and see how quickly each website, both NASA and Omega...
Panerai. It's Mike Horn, old Italian submarines, and
yachts.
I was going to say exotic leathers.
That's Scottish yacht.
But now Panerai has written their official history finally. They've rediscovered it, and now they have established a new history. A revised history.
Has anyone checked with Periscope? Because he's probably having a fit right now.
I don't know if he's seen it yet. I don't know if they've released it yet, but I've been told that they...
it's coming.
I mean, it's kind of amazing in the sense that it's important to them. It's like the history is important to them, just not, you know, actual history. Creating history.
What do you think I would have to do to feature in the Panerai history books as the most famous podcasting Panerai wearer? Because I don't think there's a big
you want accolades for that?
A big congregation of Panerai wearing podcasters. I don't think that's a regular.
I think you should have a T-shirt that says it, and eventually people would get the message.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so start self-advertising the status of yours.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to make a sign and stand by it, and that'll make it true.
Right, okay. So
because it's like you want a title that doesn't exist yet, so you're creating a new title.
Right, okay. Right,
and telling everyone why it's a big deal.
Let's go to both the websites. So let's go to Omega first page. Okay, so on the first page is Time to Celebrate, and then a Speedmaster, but it's the Milano Cortina one. So we're still on the home page. Do we have any mention of
a whole lot of Olympics?
Moon? Whole lot of Olympics. Well,
it says Moonwatch.
It says Moonwatch.
By someone who will not go to the moon.
Aaron Taylor. Oh, that's the guy that... Who's Aaron Taylor? No, who's he? He's an
British actor and Omega brand ambassador.
This is the guy they think might be the next James Bond as well. So, yeah, Omega getting in early there with their cross.
In the future, isn't it possible that Moonwatch can mean something completely different? Like made from parts of the moon or made on the moon or inspired by the moon? Like they could pivot this. Like 100 years from now, it could have nothing to do with going to the moon.
Or mooning. Is that
mooning? Yes, that's the one they want to do.
Richard at Studio Underdog, take note. I would love to see that one.
I was discussing so in rugby over here, there's what's called the haka, which is when you play New Zealand or any of the kind of Tonga, Samoa. They do a thing called the haka. Google it.
It's like a dance, right?
It's like a dance, like a war dance. And these Southern Hemisphere teams always get to perform the haka before the rugby starts. And I've always wanted, and so the other team just kind of stands there and takes it. And I've always wanted the Scottish team to do the Braveheart thing with kilts on and just turn around and slap their backsides at the New Zealanders. And that would be the official. We could have a watch. Oh, Breitling are the sponsors of the Six Nations. So Breitling could produce a moon watch. It would just be an entirely different type of mooning. Right, so Omega is kind of on the first page. Let's go to NASA and see how quickly they talk about it. NASA... Return to the moon. Okay, there you go. It is actually the first feature. So maybe NASA is... Oh, okay. News flash. Due to the
Starring Omega.
No,
Return to the moon.
Yeah, but look at the top of the page. Due to the lapse in federal government funding, NASA is not updating this website. So
it's like 30 days from a 401 redirect type of thing. Okay.
That's right. Wait a minute. How come David's the one that the lights are going off in? I thought it was your country that the lights were going off in. No government. No? Is that not how it works?
I don't think the government runs the power companies.
Has anybody noticed that the government isn't functioning in the United States? None of the rest of us have, for what it's worth.
Yes, apparently half the government is thrilled about it.
Also, the government not functioning isn't necessarily like a new thing. They shut down, but it was arguably non-functional long before that point.
Long before that. Okay, so
hopefully it's closed for repairs, you know?
Closed for repairs. It's been sent off for servicing.
Pardon our dust, we're doing maintenance.
Yes.
New government coming soon. Shiny new government.
The blue screen of death. Right. Okay, so that is our show within a show. Hopefully there was something of value.
Welcome to Democracy Plus.
Yes, Omega novices really know how to understand the brand now. We talked maybe about 0.5% of it.
We talked more about NASA and the moon.
Well, there you go. That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
We've made more people want to be an astronaut than be interested in Omega. And that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, right. So last week the challenge was on What You Like, was nominated horror films. And I think it was nominated by Ariel. So first up, Ariel was...
How do I keep getting roped into this? Okay.
Yeah. Was The Thing. So let me find a page for The Thing film. Was it 1982 film?
Yes.
The Thing. So what does The Thing mean to you in terms of both the movie and therefore by... reference, what watch brand or SKU could it possibly represent?
Who evolves in a grotesque way very quickly?
Ooh, I like that. Who's like leaned into what they have become known as the fastest?
Oh, I'm getting, for some reason, Jacob and Company vibes. Because they are very fast moving and in some instances complex but very grotesque.
Okay.
Maybe like a Beauvais. Beauvais' got some weird stuff going on the inside there.
Yeah, but is it not about leaning into it? Is it not about finding your niche?
They were for a while. For a while they were.
That's all you do. You find your niche and you go, stuff all the other stuff, but this is the thing that's making us money. Let's just do more of this.
Well, no, it's not really what the thing is about. I mean, it's a shape-shifting monster.
Shape-shifting.
It does try to copy something else.
Is it not? Oh, no. What's the brand I'm thinking of? The one that makes all the noises at Watches and Wonders.
It makes all the noises? Roger Dubuis?
Roger Dubuis, yeah. It's Shapeshift. It was actually this quite classy brand with some quite nice watches. And then it just entirely shapeshifted into this Richard Mille wannabe selling its watches at
Does it also
extraordinary
succumb
prices.
to fire and seduce Kurt Russell? Fire? No, it doesn't seduce him.
No.
Bremont shapeshifted pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
And the grotesque part of it?
Mm-hmm. I like that.
I like how Bremont is the answer to so many of these.
Yeah, we've discovered if the answer's not Hublot or Panerai, then it's probably Bremont.
I just realized the audience is going to believe the truth, which is we think about brands we don't like far more than we think about brands we do like.
Hublot, Bremont. Have we discovered the new holy trinity of watches? Hublot, Bremont, and Panerai. I think there's an article to be written there, Ripley. Probably not by you, but there's not the new Panerai, the new trinity of watchmaking. Panerai, Hublot.
You're not a real collector until you own these 3 watches.
Okay, there was no old trinity. Video. Okay, that's just a made-up set of
Ariel,
3.
You were looking for suggestions for video content. I have a suggestion for you.
Please.
The new trinity. You don't understand watches unless you've owned these 3 brands.
It's got a name that'll get confused, right? That's an engaging name. You're like, I want to know more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we go. Bremont is the thing. Okay, so next up after Bremont
not Jacob
and the
Company?
thing.
Okay. You're I think Bremont. Always Bremont.
Well, Jacob & Co. has the grotesque evolution. They've got so many tourbillons in certain pieces. It's wild, but the shape shifting, they've always just been flagrant. I guess the shape, it's like which Bugatti shape?
Mm-hmm. So Nightmare on Elm Street was next up.
So what is very sharp and will cut you, may haunt you in your sleep.
Tiso, is that a hair puller?
Is mostly focused on torturing teenagers.
Tiso, it's the hair pulling. It's the hair pulling.
Did you have a bad experience? I'm sorry.
The hair pulling integrated bracelet, the PRX. Nightmare on Elm Street is the Tiso PRX, guaranteed to remove bits of your skin slowly and painfully via the tugging of an integrated strap, which just has no gaps between it whatsoever. It's the hair plucker.
Okay, it's got a bit of a sense of humor, so okay, I'll see that.
Freddy Krueger kills in the dreams, right? Like he goes into your dreams and kills you there. That's the. So what brand is remarkably? What brand destroys you psychologically and that manifests by destroying you physically?
Rolex. Robs you of all your money. And then, so is it then which watch brand has the most propensity for buyer's remorse? You dream about it. You dream about it, and then you buy it, and then you regret it.
Not all of them, but Cirrus cases were very sharp. Very, very sharp.
Yeah, something with pointy lugs.
I mean, look, there's so many sharp lugs and bracelet link edges out there. So many.
Omega has been suggested that Omega bracelets have very sharp edges.
Okay, we have to stop mentioning Omega. Way too much free advertising. Even though we're like crap talking them, okay? They're getting too much out of this, folks.
Okay,
too
so
much.
Nightmare on Elm Street. I think, it's the brand with the most buyer's remorse. Which brand comes with the most buyer's remorse? You dream about buying it, then you own it, and it just turns out it's a bit of a nightmare. It's a bit of a dog.
Well, no one bought a second Daniel Wellington.
Okay, yeah. I'm
stuff like that.
That terrifies teenagers. Yeah, that could be a good candidate.
Daniel Wellington is the winner for Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
And then in the slightly more comedic section, and finally we had Gremlins. Okay, so there is a remake on its way, apparently, allegedly.
What, it's something around don't feed them after midnight. It's like a perpetual calendar. Don't set it like between those hours, and you know.
Yeah, we didn't deal with that aspect of the whole thing about when you're allowed to set calendars in relation to how close it is to midnight. So,
so what's pretty until you need to operate it?
It's also like a perpetual calendar.
So let's think. Yeah, let's see who's making some perpetual calendars. We want to think about.
Tudor, by the way, is being suggested quite educationally as the Nightmare on Elm Street. Tudor, you wish you'd bought the Rolex.
Oh no!
So Gremlins, which watch turns into a nightmare to own? Who's got the biggest servicing, the most disproportionate servicing costs?
Casio ring watch.
A watch that turns into a nightmare. Don't feed it after midnight. No, hold on. I'm sorry, Ariel. We're going back to the Speedmaster. We're going back to Omega. It's all about what? It's all about water resistance. You pay a lot of money for it, and it still has a terrible water resistance. It just goes wrong. That's great. It's all about not getting them wet. Which watch can you not get wet? So this is some
type of minute repeater grand complication.
I was
don't mess with it after midnight, and you can't get it wet.
Like the ultra thin, like Piagets and Bulgaris. It's it's interesting and adorable. Look how thin it is. It's like a credit card, and it's all nice. But then when you bugger it up by sitting on it or something, or however you break those things, it becomes an absolute nightmare when you send it back and they realize that you haven't just screwed up the case and the movement are all integrated, and you've basically destroyed the whole watch.
Yes, or something with ceramic
Patek Grandmaster Flash or whatever they called it.
Patek Grandmaster Chime.
I don't think you can get that thing wet.
Gremlin of watches is the Patek Philippe Grandmaster Chime. I like that. Good stuff. Excellent. So next week, in honor of Jay Leno, we're going to do musicals, but in honor of Jay Leno and his hometown, or his family hometown, we're going to this is Golden Casket, that are a range of sweets made by a company called Buchanan's that are based in Greenock. So you can get various types. We're going to ask the question, which watch or watch brand is most like one of these flavors? So you can go and choose anything you like from the Golden Casket website. They also have a sweet called Millions. I don't know if these make it to the States. These are all their brands, and a thing called Hoik balls. If you wish,
that's how that's pronounced.
Yeah, Hoik. How would you pronounce that if I hadn't just said
snail shells? What is that?
What are these? What is the flavor? I see just a tartan. What is this thing?
These are peppermints. These are like peppermint sweets.
They're not designed to crack your teeth in half?
Well, they are designed to do that, but most Scottish people don't have their own teeth, so it doesn't really matter. And then Fudgy-Wudgy, if you'd like a bit of Fudgy-Wudgy.
Oh, gosh.
And
Milk Chews. It's Milk Moose, Rick. It's not Fudgy-Wudgy.
But Milk Chews, because this is how we consume our milk in Scotland. We consume our milk in the form of sugar-laden sweets rather than out of a bottle. So you can choose from the Golden Casket website, or you've got various bagged confectionery from Iron Brew Humbugs and
I'm going with Scrumptiously Sticky. That is
sticky.
An old rubber strap which is coming apart.
There we go. The Scrumptiously Sticky Treacle Toffee. So in honour of Jay Leno and his maternal hometown of Greenock, we will be which watch or brand is most like a sweet you can find on goldencasket.co.uk.
What's a treacle?
You don't know what treacle is? You have treacle in the States.
Am I supposed to?
No, we don't.
You must have treacle in the United States, surely.
Maybe.
Treacle tart. And
is it scrumptious?
Yeah, but is treacle not what you put on apples during Halloween? No. This is
it's giving me nothing,
toffee,
Rick. What do you want?
Do you know what a toffee apple is?
Sure.
No? Oh, like
is that not treacle you use? Yeah, caramelized. There's not treacle used for it. Maybe it's not. I've never made a toffee apple. I think
we just call it caramel.
Yeah,
caramel apple.
It's been suggested we should do Tunnocks, but Tunnocks isn't where Jay Leno's from. Tunnocks are from Uddingston. So we can do Tunnocks later on. But we're doing Buchanan's just now. So, and yeah, you can do a side exploration of what treacle actually is. It's like, is it molasses? Do you have molasses?
We know what molasses is. Can you get Buchanan's to make a new flavor?
I wonder
something
if
watch related.
I wonder if molasses is the same as treacle. I wonder if that's just the American term for it. I'll need to do some research.
I think it's just caramel.
No, it's caramels.
Though the primary difference is that treacle is a naturally occurring syrup from the sugar making process, whereas caramel is made by deliberately cooking and browning sugar.
Right. Okay. So there you go.
Well, I just wanted you to know I didn't know that term because I'm not candy loving enough.
How do you use it in a sentence? Like, do you put treacle in your?
Well, treacle.
Can I give you a little treacle sticky?
Okay, that's going to only go bad. No, you would use treacle as either the description for what treacle is. It comes in a tin. I'll bring a tin onto the show for next week. Or you might say use treacle to describe something that's really sticky or slow moving. It's as slow as treacle.
Has this been used all the time? I've just not been paying attention. I just feel that this has never come up.
I think we just use molasses, like you're slow as molasses.
Yeah, I think you need to put the word treacle into your next watch review for something. That's your word of the week for your next watch review. No, someone's
just going to politely inform me I misspelled trickle.
Trickle. Anyway, so that's for next week.
I know how to integrate it, though. I'm going to use it. I figured it out. I have to wait for the right turbo watch, though.
Right, okay, well, that's good. Right, let's do, in conclusion, a couple of hit-miss maybes. Let's start off, although David is now
finally,
away.
The watch part of the conversation.
The watch part of the conversation, we'll start with this.
After sitting through talk about moons and molasses, here you go, watches.
I think our watch content's actually increasing, you know. I have
bar was low. That.
We're now starting 1 hour into the show. We're finally talking about some watches.
Okay, so the car enthusiast choice.
You thought we were talking about Omega. Little did you know we were not.
The intro is now. We'll finish the intro. We can now do the clap for starting the show. A car enthusiast choice is Chopard Mille Miglia GTS Power Control. I actually am looking at this. I'm thinking, we might actually already have spoken about this watch, but I do like this. I do think that Chopard and this particular partnership do produce some nice watches every year. What do you think about this one?
What is the price? I think this came up briefly, and there was like maybe this in a chrono or something. And I remember one was a solid value, and then the other left me scratching my head a bit.
The price of this is, as we go down the article, David clearly likes this watch because he's put a lot of text on the article. Come on, keep scrolling. Oh, we're going. 8,350, 250 individually numbered pieces. That's not cheap. Does that impact what you think about this watch?
I mean, it's still cheaper than other stuff. You know, the new normal of watch pricing is not something I'm per se comfortable with, but it is what it is. And I think my only issue with this watch is, while I like it, this is an aging platform. I mean, it's got to be 15 years, maybe 20 years old now. The overall platform of this watch, yes, this movement didn't exist then, and that's new. So it's legible, but it's big. And I don't know. I mean, you know, when Chopard revised the Mille Miglia, did some tweaks to it, I had some faith that this was coming. So they promised it is. It's probably in the works. But for me, it's hard to get excited about it when I know that some type of revision to this whole platform is coming really around the corner. But it's handsome. The movement is very cool. I know it seems a bit redundant, but I love automatic watches with a power reserve indicator in it. I just like it a lot. I think that 12 looks nice. The black lume against that kind of copper tone pops. So it's got a lot of contrast. So if you're okay with the case size and stuff like that, it's a really nice product.
And it says chronometer on it, which, thanks to Watches 101 from last week, everybody knows what it means. We know what that is. So, okay, is it a hit? Is it a miss? Or is it a maybe? 1, 2, 3, go. It's a hit. It's a maybe from Ripley.
It's maybe, but more on the hit side for me.
More on the hit side. The Ariel hit from you? You're muted.
Sorry, all my cards said miss, so I had to find the hit.
So it's a hit from Ariel. What makes it an essential hit, Ariel?
Again, these are just satisfying. It's the type of watch that, like, you could not wear for 5 years and pick it up. You're like, oh, I remember this. early Mille Miglias that sort of used source movements were not great watches. They just were kind of crappy. I'm sorry. But Chopard's gotten a lot better. This has really nothing to do with that. This is that Mille Miglia racing heritage, which very car inspired, fuel gauge style power reserve indicator. Obviously says, a Mille Miglia with 1000 Miglia right there on the dial. So it's part of that classification. The things I don't like is that there's a lot of other stuff out there kind of like it, but this movement, I think, adds a new layer to it. I've enjoyed these. I've always wanted one of these. It is a large watch because it was made at a time when people really wanted that size. But I've definitely seen versions of this watch I want far less. That's for me why it's a hit.
Okay, and Ripley, essentially a maybe, but veering towards a hit.
Yeah, I'd like to see it in person. I think just the sizing wouldn't really work well on my personal wrist. And I want to see it in person to just sort of see how this coppery salmon adjacent color kind of plays. No, I don't think it's a bad price for the movement. As Ariel mentioned, this without the movement is kind of a very expensive, kind of off the shelf. But I think the orientation of this dial's better than some. Looks like a nice watch. Looks like a fun watch. And they've made a ton of different Mille Miglia pieces over the years, like so many, you could probably fill a book with them. And I like this better than a lot of other ones. So it's a maybe, but if I had to say hit or miss, it'd be a hit.
Cool. Okie dokie. And then a final hit miss maybe for this week's show. Let's go to this article and review by Ariel, Ball Roadmaster M. Okay, hold on a second. How did I read that? Ball Roadmaster M Model A watch review. M Model 8, that doesn't make any sense to me. A mechanical GMT alarm watch that glows. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, this is an interesting watch to say the least. There's a lot of cool things this watch does well. I have some reservations about it. A lot of it has to do with my own, just personal taste. It's a very large watch. They lie about how large it is. So if you go on the website, the dimensions do not really accurately define. For example, I think they call it a 42 millimeter watch. It's no way. It's you measure the rear of the case, a part of the watch you can't even see.
The bottom of the middle case, and it flares upward with the bezel protruding over it. It's nowhere near the diameter that is stated on paper.
It's very legible at night, less so in the day. There's just a lot of hands going on, right? You have the time, you have the date, you have a GMT hand, and then you have an alarm indicator. There's two crowns. And this movement that I've never heard of, they apparently make it or have a hand in making it. There's very little information about what they do there. So, there's that. The movement is essentially your standard automatic GMT movement. And then there's this alarm system, which is kind of adjacent to it. The alarm system is, as it is in many mechanical alarms, where you have a separate spring that you have to wind, and then you line up this hand where the hour hand will go to activate. So it's not super precise. It's within about 3 or 4 minutes or so, and that when the hour hand of the main time hits it, it'll go off. You can turn the alarm on and off, and it will quote unquote ring for about 18 seconds there. So I'm not that big of a fan of mechanical alarms because, as I continue to say, they sound like a machine, slowly dying. It's very sad. It's not the uplifting sound I want to wake up to.
Being alarmed rather than alarmed.
Yeah, there's just a lot. Look, there's a ceramic bezel that's two-tone with black and red. It's kind of cool how they did the crystal. Again, it's neat that they have this special movement. So there's a lot of cool stuff. And if you go to a watch event, I think this is very important. You go to a watch event, this is going to be a hit. Everyone's want to play with it, see it. So you're going to be Mr. Popular. I just don't know how you're going to feel when you're alone and you're what am I doing with this?
So is this the answer to the earlier question about the Nightmare on Elm Street, the watch with the most buying regret that you dream about?
It's not about that. Look, this is cheaper than that, Chopard that we just talked about. It's not sharp, it's ball weird.
Is this I see we've got an Instagram.
Yeah, I've been trying to do some more videos there. So in the video, you can hear the alarm, obviously.
Let's see if we can hear it. Oh, this is weird. This is like video within video. No, we'll keep going.
I don't know what you're saying. I can't say it, but this was my first one I put on Instagram.
We will
in a while,
stop sharing that. We'll try and share the Instagram post. There we go.
This is an alarm watch that they make with a new movement that they have.
There we go. So you can check out Ariel to watch on Instagram for an actual handling of the watch and the sound of the alarm. Cool. Okay. So is it a hit? Is it a miss? Or is it a maybe? 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, break a hit. A miss and a maybe. Oh, we've got one of each. So maybe Ariel.
Like I said, it's one of those watches that I'm not sure what it's an answer to. Like they'll be like, oh, but it's a travel watch. You can wake yourself up and have a second time zone. And yeah, that's true. And in theory, it's a good idea, but it's like it's big. It's kind of bulky. I don't understand the larger Roadmaster like collection from Ball. Like it's just there are so many versions of it. This is the black sheep. This is the absolute black sheep of the entire Roadmaster family, even though at a glance it looks like all the other ones, right? You if you didn't know that this is like the one-off weird one, you're like, how is this not like every other one? But it's larger, it's much more expensive, it's much more complicated. What was the price? Like $6,500? Again, not crazy in the scheme of things, but like at least double the price of your other standard Ball watch. So there's a lot of things I like about it, but it's still kind of weird to me.
Yeah, 6,600 USD. Ripley, a miss from you?
Yeah, I mean, for my wrist, that lug to lug, it's a big watch, and the lug to lug does it no favors in terms of mitigating that. It just seems a little bit confused about what they were trying to create with this. It looks all rugged and like fireman tactical. I don't know what it's going for with this general silhouette and the knobs and crowns and bezels and everything and all the loom.
Roadmastery.
Yeah, roadmastery. But then you get the alarm where it's like, I don't know if anyone wanted like I don't know if anyone was looking for like a super burly dual crown tritium tube GMT alarm watch. It's sort of the answer to the problem no one asked. I think the movement's interesting. Maybe something a little bit more elegant, or implement the 24-hour scale on the dial so you don't need the bezel, or do something with it. But it just seems a little bit confused about what they were going for, and just were pulling cool things out of a hat and saying yes to put them on the watch until they just ran out of space.
Okay. I like it.
Tell us why.
That's well.
Is it Panerai-esque?
They do well, probably. They do interesting things. They do interesting things. Ball, the tritium tube thing is really cool. Maybe that should be next week's 101 on illumination. But the tritium tubes are very cool. I do like an alarm watch. A Vulcane, got one of them. I'm not sure anyone has ever trusted waking up to an important event, though, to a wristwatch alarm since,
only when they had no other option.
Yeah, when you had no other option, because it's not really going to. If you've had a late night, it ain't really going to wake you up. You're gonna sleep through it and incorporate the noise into your nightmare on Elm Street.
Once you go snooze function, there's no going back.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That has ruined our life. We now don't need to get up to the alarm. We just snooze it. I think there's a research paper to be done into that on the psychology of the fact that you now have a snooze function, whereas before, when your alarm went off, you had to get up. That was it.
And I still do that.
Yeah.
When I have to wake up, I set the alarm on my phone, and then I put my phone in an inconvenient place plugged into a charger in the bedroom. So when it goes off, I can't like just hit the button on the Apple Watch. I have to go stand up and get the thing
get it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, there
You
we
see
go.
the alarm? I saw one long ago. In order to hit snooze, you have to perform a math formula. Like you have to solve a thing.
I like that. I like that. Okay. Right. Well, that is it for this week. Thank you all very much for listening. And if Jay Leno genuinely does listen to this show and Ariel's not just winding him up, then Jay, do suggest which watch you think is most like one of the sweeties from your maternal hometown. You can start off. Send Ariel a voice memo or something. A voice memo from Leno. There we go. That should be a new section. That should be a new section every week. A voice memo from Leno about something. It can be anything. You've heard this show. It can actually be about anything. It doesn't have to be about what.
I mean, Ripley was there. I'm not making this up.
I was going to say, in earnest, he mentioned you discussing the haggis. And he said, "Come on, enough of that already."
Enough of the haggis already. Well, maybe Jay should come across in January for St Andrew's night, and we will share a haggis together.
Oh God!
There we go.
What an invitation!
Haggis and treacle, yay!
Haggis and treacle, yeah, a treacle tart and some haggis and some rumble thumps. Which now that you listen to this show, everybody now knows what that is. So my work here is done, and so is everybody else's. So thank you all very much for listening. And you can hang on for a little bit of extra time if you're listening to the live show. Other than that, we will see you all in Christmas time. Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone.